Good evening, everybody. New Voice, in partnership with Lead the Way, is very proud to bring you the experiential evening, where we explore an exciting approach to leader development that really helps us develop our self-awareness. It helps us to develop personal connections with ourselves and with others, and in terms of just allowing us to be more aware of how we impact others and how we impact just the environment and things around us. My name is Sarah Schubert. I'm Director of New Voice Communications, and I'm extremely excited to be here this evening, and also very excited to have Andrew and Sam here tonight as well, all the way from New Zealand. It's been a fantastic journey partnering with them on this. We met, 6 months ago, I think, about that, in New Zealand, and we were introduced by a mutual friend. And when we found out what we were both passionate about, when we found out what we were, the fields that we worked in, the things that we did, it was very clear the synergy that we had between the work that we did and what we were trying to achieve. And so it wasn't even a question. It was a sort of a statement of it would be great to work together, and how can we bring something to Singapore that really starts to help and leverage both of our expertise. And so this has been a culmination of discussions and travel and journeys to Singapore and New Zealand, and it's great to be here tonight, and thank you for joining us to find out more about what we're doing, to find out a little bit more about the concept. For some of you, I've spoken to a number of you already here, and it's intriguing. It's something that sort of sparks an interest in people for many different reasons. What I want to start off with is just a short discussion around why we're doing this and really what brought us to this point. So for me, it's about leader development. It's about how we can really support leaders as they're going through crises and as they're facing different challenges. The role of a leader has shifted over the years. Many years ago, it was very autocratic. It was directive. It was about telling. We didn't expect people to think for themselves. We just wanted them to do what we told them to do. As roles became less manual, as roles evolved, people needed to be to be able to think for themselves. Leaders needed to actually have these guys do more. So they needed to shift their gears, and they found themselves actually going completely to the opposite extreme. They actually found that they were becoming democratic, and organizations were ran like committees, which again didn't really work. So they were thinking, okay, well, things shifted again, and it became more participative. So the leadership or the decision-making stuck with the leaders, but it was participative. So different people became involved, and they were able to voice their opinion, and that was taken into consideration, etc. Over the years, it's changed again. And this is really what's driving, certainly me, in terms of what I look at and focus at with New Voice, that leaders are having to take a step back, that actually they are needing to get themselves out the way so that the others can come through. And it's really about helping people develop. We need, as leaders, to coach. It's less about us and it's more about them. And when you come from a background of slightly more autocratic, maybe slightly more directive, that's challenging. It's very challenging to make that shift. We have a younger generation that are coming in that are demanding that they have that opportunity very early on in their career, perhaps more so than before. So how do we allow leaders to sort of relinquish that control? How do we give them the comfort that it's all going to be okay? And it's losing that power, it's losing that autonomy, that certainly through my conversations with leaders and talking to different just individuals, that's what's the challenge. So when we actually have that familiarity with people, when we're actually aware of who they are, how they operate, we're more inclined to pass them something of value. We're more inclined to trust them with something that we hold dear to ourselves. So that's sort of when we think about passing our phone to someone we don't know or not, it's very similar thought process to leaders when they're asked to delegate and when they're asked to pass on a piece of work, something that ultimately they are still responsible for, but that someone else is going to do for them. How we can help leaders with that is about building that relationship. It's about being able to build that trust with the people they work with, because so much these days is done through who we know, not what we know. It's about working through people, and it's not about doing it for them. It's about helping them do it for themselves. So one key area, one key driver for the program that we're going to talk about and that we'll see in action this evening is about building that relationship and about being able to build that trust with someone or something that you have no background with, you have no experience of, and something that then you can trust and that you can give things to. Another area that's important, and this really sort of comes down to, I'll give an analogy. When we think about a firefighter, we don't expect the first fire that firefighter puts out to be on the first day of their job. We expect them to have had weeks of training, months of training. We expect them to have experienced fire and how they deal with that. But quite often, we don't give leaders that same opportunity. And the leaders that I speak to, or the managers, the individuals, the biggest challenge they have when they're faced with a crisis is how they deal with the emotions that are triggered by that. They feel that they can do the job. They're like, yeah, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm in this position. I can do it. However, it's the emotions that trip me up. It's the triggers that happen that I'm not expecting and that I totally didn't realize were there that trip me up. And again, that got me thinking of, well, okay, again, another responsibility we have is to provide an opportunity for those triggers to happen in an environment that is safe, in an environment that they can test and try out, but at least they have that chance to see what happens and to see how they respond before it's too late, before they're actually in that crisis and we're expecting them to be effective, we're expecting them to be successful, yet we haven't actually given them that chance to practice. And for me as well, a bit of a statistic for you. In 2012, $170 billion was spent on leadership development in US firms. That's a huge amount of money. How much of that was well spent? How much of that was actually, did those companies get a return on their investment? I don't know. I'd like to think 100%. Who knows? Maybe more likely 50, 60% was actually money that they got some return on, that they actually had, they realized that, yes, this was valuable. And the reason is that a lot of leader training is in a workshop. It's in a classroom. Now, that's very valuable. We still need that to happen because it imparts the right skills. It gets people thinking about the right things. When you want to see a shift in behavior, when you want to see a shift in awareness, the training has to be transformative. It has to challenge, and it has to really stretch and make the individual question what they do on a regular basis. That's when learning really starts to happen. That's when you can see a shift in the behavior. It's about creating that discomfort, or that disequilibrium, as we call it. It's about making people feel really uncomfortable. And again, in a safe environment, they're not going to be harmed, they're not in danger, but making them really think twice about what they do. And when you do that, when you create this discomfort for someone, they have to dig deep. They really have to find that place where they can be more impactful, where they can actually, okay, I need to rethink this. I experienced that myself when I was taking part, when I was participating in the program that Sam and Andrew run in New Zealand. And it was amazing to feel that sense of helplessness, but at the same time, knowing that okay, I've got it in me, I can find those resources, I can do it, but at the moment I'm really not sure how. And that was a fantastic challenge for someone who felt that they were already quite good at certain things. They were tested in a way that had never been tested before. So my point being, let's find a way to really test ourselves, to really put ourselves out there in an environment that is uncomfortable, in a position that triggers these things in us, that creates these emotions, and let's get ready for that before we have to act and before we have to be productive and successful. That's a lot of the work that I'm doing at New Voice, that we're really trying to find those unique solutions to everyday problems, that's really trying to sort of draw people maybe in a different route that they would initially find or that they would initially expect. So it's unexpected, but actually the result is the right result. It's precise in terms of what it delivers. And for that reason, it obviously was a fantastic privilege to partner with Sam and Andrew as we worked through the Walk the Talk program, because it's one that draws out people, it makes people vulnerable, it creates a challenge, and you will experience that this evening. And really it's a sort of a precursor to what you could experience in a full 2-day program as well.